Guys, welcome to a classic film review of Sneakers, the 1992 techno crime heist movie starring Robert Redford, Dan Aykroyd, Ben Kingsley, Sidney Poitier, River Phoenix and more, and directed by Phil Alden Robinson. Now, it's a movie that was released in the fallout of the Cold War, where espionage began to be high-tech, and the movie was released in the same year that dial-up internet was first offered commercially. So some of the technology used is laughably old school in our modern age of frontier computers and hyperfast broadband. Now, the brilliant thing about Sneakers is that you'd expect a film about cybersecurity made all the way back in 1992, over 30 years ago now, to have become dated, and it has to an extent, but it's so much fun you'll barely notice. Let's take a look.
They've got the satellite in Tokyo. These guys are good.
Can you guarantee my safety?
Where is the item?
Can you guarantee my safety?
5 seconds.
Yes, I can guarantee your safety.
Bish, he's lying!
Hang up, they've almost got us.
He's lying!
Hang up, Bish.
He's lying!
Now, in Sneakers, we have Martin Bishop, played by Robert Redford, and Donald Creese, played by Sidney Poitier, who lead an off-the-grid group of electronics experts who all have unique skills in hacking and surveillance. They fund their escapades by legitimately testing the security systems of multi-million-dollar businesses. Now, however, Redford's character's dodgy past catches up with him when some shady agents arrive and request that he and his team steal a mysterious device for them.
You're the guys I hear breathing on the other end of my phone.
No, that's the FBI. We're not chartered for domestic surveillance.
Oh, I see. You just overthrow governments, set up friendly dictators.
No, that's the CIA.
Now, having little choice in the matter, the gang steal said item. However, they will soon discover what the mysterious device is and the dire consequences in wait should it fall into the wrong hands.
Cryptography systems are based on mathematical problems so complex they cannot be solved without a key.
Janik must have figured out a way to solve those problems without the key, and he hardwired it into that chip.
Now, I'm personally a big fan of films that deal in some kind of heist or heists. And when I was a bit of a younger nerd, the idea of this covert crack team of other nerds going on Mission Impossible style missions was so alluring that I think I recorded this off Sky Movies back in the day and watched it to death. Now, I will certainly have been too young at the time to fully appreciate the outrageous cast that this movie has at its disposal. Its central pairing of Redford and Poitier, of course, two of Hollywood's legends, reaching a more mature phase of their careers here, but the pair work well together, with Redford being the more daring and Poitier being the more cautious of the two. Dan Aykroyd, whose best work was behind him, is the conspiracy theorist here.
Did you know the deputy director of planning was down in Managua, Nicaragua the day before the earthquake?
Now what are you saying? The CIA caused the Managua earthquake?
Well, I can't prove it, but...
And Ben Kingsley's great as the film's calm and cool antagonist, who has an interesting past with Redford's character and has a very old school motivation of wanting to stick it to the man by crashing the system, destroying all records of ownership and throwing the world economy into anarchy.
No more rich people, no more poor people. Everybody's the same. Isn't that what we said we always wanted?
Guys, you haven't gone crazy, have you?
Who else is going to change the world, Marty? Greenpeace?
And of course, the cast also included River Phoenix, adding some heartthrob appeal to the cast list. Phoenix would, of course, tragically die only a year after this film's release. And probably my favourite character here is Whistler, played by David Strahan, a blind phone tapping expert whose disability actually makes him the most talented member of the group. One of my favourite scenes being him solving the location of a kidnapping using only the sounds of car wheels moving across creases in the road.
There was a recurring sound.
Like seams in the concrete.
But further apart.
And, of course, the key moment when the team comes face to face with the true purpose of the black box MacGuffin that they've been tasked to steal. The scene going from playful amazement to terrified amazement at the sheer scope of what it can access.
Oh my God.
How is this possible?
Turn it off. Anybody want to crash a couple of passenger jets?
I said turn it off. Turn it off!
So Sneakers is a heist movie at heart. The guys and gals have to steal something, they get duped, they have to steal it back, etc. with some fiendish little twists and turns thrown in there for good measure. Now, if you are looking for Tom Cruise level high-tech heisting, then you're probably better off sticking with more modern fare. This isn't so much a slow-paced thriller, but it certainly isn't reliant upon elaborate stunt work and mass car wrecks or buildings falling over to deliver its thrills. Its drama and tension is served up via tracing phone calls, last-minute office escapes, and even its central heist involves Robert Redford evading security systems by moving as slowly as possible.
Either way, you've got a top speed of 2 inches per second. Any faster than that? And big guys with guns, but you'll probably do fine.
But what the film lacks in snapshot editing and slow motion shootouts, it makes up for in its cheeky sense of humour. The cast all bouncing off one another brilliantly. Even Mary McDonnell, as Redford's girlfriend here, gets in on the action in a quite excruciatingly tense fake date scene as she attempts to extract a password from a company SAP.
What an interesting name you have. How exactly do you pronounce it?
Now, for a movie that might actually be 75% constructed of people looking at a screen or through binoculars, it really relies upon its sharp script and its chemistry between all of its leads. Now, there's no doubt that you'll probably find it less glamorous than many globe-trotting spy thrillers, but it's far more grounded and realistic, and funny. Sneakers was directed by Phil Alden Robinson, who previously directed Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner, another one of my favourites. Here he injects just enough pace to keep the film moving whilst also letting us spend a bit of time getting to know each member of the team. It's not an easy task injecting comedy elements into action thrillers, and it's certainly an art form lost to time, but for me the balance is just right here. Aykroyd's mother character constantly spouting off conspiracy theories to a bemused Poitier.
Now what do you say? The NSA killed Kennedy?
No, they shot him, but they didn't kill him. He's still alive.
That's it. I've had it. I don't want to talk to you anymore. You just do your job. I don't want to talk to you anymore.
And also a quick shout out for the musical score here from composer James Horner, who would of course go on to score films like Braveheart and Titanic. It's got some jazzy vibes to it which you wouldn't expect, but works surprisingly well. Now, Sneakers slots nicely into film and technology history. It teeters on the line separating good old-fashioned espionage thrillers before Bond, Bourne and Ethan Hunt brought colossal spectacle, and before the real world discovered effortless access to tech with smartphones and tablets and unfathomable volumes of information literally at its fingertips. It's a film that not only gets you nostalgic for the 90s and its technology, but also for those anti-government paranoid thrillers of the late 60s and 70s. Now, in the modern age of Snowden, alleged Russian-rigged elections and cyber-terrorism being an actual threat, it's a good escapist fun to travel back a few decades to a time when computer crime was a bit of a giggle between old friends in a secret San Francisco loft hideout. Go check it out.
Don't go.
Don't go.